I would forget my head if it wasn't attached. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all?
Good morning.
Pull this out. I want to welcome everybody. I also want to say that it is a testament to your devotion and dedication that you showed up to sit in a building on a day like this. So definitely welcome. This is the second Sunday of the month, and this is the Sunday where we do the universal worship. Now, I must tell you, this is my favorite, and it's not that the others aren't all wonderful. Okay, they are. So, and come to all of them. Okay. But why I love this is, to me, the universal worship really captures to me what Interfaith is all about. It is a time of devotion, respect, and a sharing of wisdom from many of the major traditions. You know, time prevents us from sharing all of the major traditions because we'd be here like into the week. There are so many. The divine has never left us alone. There have always been teachers, and there will be teachers in the future. But I want to welcome you all. At this point, I would like to invite our brother Steve to come up to call in the ancestors and to say something about the indigenous communities and give our respects.
Thank you, Rich. I would like to take a moment for us to close our eyes. Invite you to close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and ground yourself to this time and place. And let's take a moment to call in all of our ancestors, those who have lived in this place, as well as our familial ancestors, and those ancestors who have walked this earth before us that we relate to and who we respect and love. We welcome you to join us today. You may open your eyes now if you wish. I'd also like to acknowledge that in this space we live in the unceded territories of the coastal Salish-speaking people, particularly the Duwamish and the Shosho tribes lived in this particular area. In the greater Puget Sound, there were almost 100 different tribes. So this entire area has been a very multicultural place, which to me reflects they had their own experiences of interfaith, as do we. I would like to acknowledge that the indigenous who held this region and continue to be stewards of it deserve acknowledgement for the wonderful job they've done of honoring nature and all the beings who share this area with us. I would also like to acknowledge that we really, that they deserve to be respected and supported in any way that our hearts call to them, as these are particularly trying times for the indigenous peoples here and around the US. I'd also like to acknowledge the trees and the frogs and deer who inhabit this region, as they are also stewards of the land. May we learn from them all. Amen.
Thank you very much, Steve. Now, our brother George is going to offer a prayer to the Divine Feminine.
Thank you, Rich. Nice do. There we go. I think I'm going to sit down if you don't mind. So here we are. And this is one of my favorite traditions, I think, with Interfaith, is the offering to the Divine Feminine. I think mainly because, the Divine Feminine evokes in us each something probably very, very different. And it kind of invites us to kind of contemplate and look inside to see what it means to us. And I always like the different takes that people have to the Divine Feminine. And I ran across this writing some time ago, and I've had it with me for a while. And it's by a dear friend of ours called Deepak Chopra. And this is an article he wrote, or a little bit he wrote, and it's called Embracing the Divine Feminine Power Within Us All. So here's what Deepak says. One feels a change in the wind that has been coming for a long time. There has been an awakening that has brought on a call to attain and embrace social equality and justice. The fault lines are related to race, socioeconomics, and gender. This we sense around us is brought on by a rise in embracing feminine energy, a potent energy that goes beyond political and social factors. There is something deeply spiritual stirring. The Divine Feminine isn't to be confused with gender or restricted to women, because in reality, the Divine Feminine is part of everyone's wholeness. When we divide all human experience into the narrow categories of women and men, we lose the opportunity to access wholeness. In order to truly love all people, and for them to love themselves, we must each nurture the universal values that belong to the Divine Feminine. Every human quality that we cherish has a pure source. Excuse me. And the closer you are to that source, the more intense, personal, and lasting your values will be. What does the Divine Feminine add to everyone's life? In one way or another, we all express qualities of the Divine Feminine. Whenever there is nurturing, devotional, compassionate, loving, intuitive, or reflective energy, the Divine Feminine is present. You might feel yourself resisting the expression of a certain quality in order to meet social approvals, because we have all been conditioned to do so. When the feminine energy is ignored or wounded, the same values that this energy carries are lost. In their absence, a presence of quality associated with masculine energy takes form. Forceful, overly competitive, controlling, domineering. These attributes are exaggerated and far removed from wholeness. Society tells us that these energies are either or, and that we are made to feel uncomfortable expressing ourselves as we truly are, a union of all. Thank you.
And now, I'm going to have our beloved sister, Sally Jo, talk to us about upcoming gatherings, and for the people online about, and by the way, hi y'all, for the people online about sharing our wealth. We'll get to the rest of you later.
Thank you, Rich. And again, welcome all. It's my job at this point to remind everybody that we are not only a Sunday morning operation here at Interfaith Community Sanctuary, although we are definitely a Sunday morning operation, But we have classes and workshops and people who meet together to pursue their spiritual interests and spiritual practices pretty much every day of the week for different purposes and with different emphases. After every service, we gather downstairs for coffee and tea and to have further conversations, if we wish, about the service or about what's going on in our lives. And once a month, we meet as a guiding council after the service. So things happen after the service. Next Sunday, when Jamal Rahman presents his worship service up here, we'll have a potluck lunch after the service, and we invite everybody to share with that. So after monthly services, we gather. Also, on most weekdays, there will be one group or another who will gather. Course in Miracle meets one night a week. I think that's Tuesdays. We have the Medicine Circle, Sisiwas Medicine Circle, which meets on Wednesdays, I believe it is. But don't trust me on these days and times, because our website has all the details. And you can sign up to get a Monday morning reminder about all the gatherings that happened that week and their times and whether they're on Zoom. Some are on Zoom, some are in person, some are both, what we call hybrid. And so we try to reach as many people as we can. We have a Course in Miracle, which meets. We have book study groups. I will not try to name them all, but I do encourage you to look and find what sparks your interest. What is it? And there are new classes that are being offered and held all the time, too. So come to us online, figure out where you might fit in, and join up. We love that. We have a Friday prayer circle in the Islamic tradition every Friday at 1:30. That's only on Zoom, and you need the link for that. So explore a little bit and ask people or go online to find your details. Also, we have special events from time to time, and Jamal Rahman is teaching a special workshop all day Saturday on August 23rd. Well, I say all day. It's 10 to 4, and you can talk to me or Jamal if you want more information about that, and I can email you the flyer and all the information about that if you're interested in joining that. That will be kind of like a retreat day, a day when you give the day to yourself and your own spiritual inner world, and you put the outer world aside for just 5 hours and see what happens within yourself. That's a fun time to be together and contemplate our own spiritual life. And then we have a special dinner coming up that we will be holding at St. Joseph's Church. And that will be deepening conversations that we've been developing over the past year and a half, 2 years, with small table groups of people where we delve into deeper spiritual questions with each other, listen carefully to each other, and then have a chance to respond with our own stories. So that is happening on, Jamal, can you help me with that date? I think it's 27th of August? Of September, 27th of September. So that's a while coming yet, and you'll get a flyer about that. Now, let's see what this is. Oh, would you like to speak about this a little bit? Because I'm not familiar with it.
I wanted to let everyone know that this week is Interfaith Awareness Week, which is a week that is acknowledged by both the UN and the Parliament of World Religions. And it was started 9 years ago by Minister with Unity down in Pomona, California. It's each day it starts today and goes through Saturday. And each day there are 6 to 7 offerings by different groups from around the world. And they're all on Zoom and they're free. And so I have some brochures with the QR code, and I'll also send out an email with the information for those online. And I will be doing a session with Merida, who's a staff member for the Charter for Compassion, on Friday at 10 a.m. And it will be a Charter Sangha, or Buddhist form of meditation and compassionate interaction. So I invite you to take a look at the schedules. I only copied a few, but if you have a camera, you can get the information on your QR code. And as I said, I'll send out something to the community early this week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'd also like to remind our folks online, if you would like to give in monetary value to this community, which is being sustained by our members and our volunteers who work hard to keep the space beautiful and accessible, and fix broken windows and fix broken ceilings and fix broken steps, and help us to keep staying open in a building that is a historic landmark building built in 1890, and we're working very hard to keep it going into the present and into the future, and we appreciate any donations you can make. This is a volunteer organization. I don't know if everybody knows that. And everybody who works, who puts in their energy here, does it on a volunteer basis. And we deeply appreciate the time as well as the money that comes in. So if you can give money instead of time, or time along with your money, or money along with your time, whatever you can give is warmly appreciated and deeply valued in our community. Thank you.
Once again, everybody, welcome. As I said earlier, today is Universal Worship. The Universal Worship was created by Hazrat Inayat Khan at the turn of the 19th century to the 20th. Inayat Khan was the first person to bring Sufism to the West. And he created this ceremony as a gift to the world. And it is a ceremony in which we honor all of the different pathways and teachings of the great world religious leaders, prophets, sages, etc. And we do it through prayers and writings of each of these traditions. Principally here, there are 6 principal traditions that Inayat Khan talked about. Those are Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But you're free to add others, and we add 2. Taoism is one that we've added, and you're going to find, for the longest time, we've just been adding Taoism and the indigenous. You're going to find us switching that up a little now, because we want to, add other, traditions to give them a chance. But we don't want you to be here till midnight, so we're like changing out. So this time around, we're doing Taoism, which we, pretty much always do, but we're also doing neo-paganism. In this particular example, Druidry. So hopefully you will get something out of that. Now, here at Interfaith, every year we do a discernment. It's an overarching, topic that we explore, and each year it changes. And this year it is Sanctuary. It came to us that we don't call ourselves the Interfaith Community Church. Did it one time, but we don't. We don't call ourselves the Interfaith Community Mosque or Ashram or Gurdwara. We call ourselves the Interfaith Community Sanctuary. We are a sanctuary to all. We are welcoming to all. No matter what your religious belief or lack thereof, you are welcome here. At the divine table, everyone is welcome to partake in the feast. Now, as I said, each year we do a different discernment, and this year it's Sanctuary. And then to add to it, each month we take a different aspect of Sanctuary. This month, it is the Sanctuary of Time. So we will be exploring different aspects of time. Keep this in mind, there will be a test later. No, keep it in mind, though, because, later on, everyone will have a chance to share. And at that time, you can share some of your wisdom about time. So without further ado, let us begin the service. Let me throw on my glasses so I can see where we're doing service. Okay. So at this point, we're going to do the kindling of the lights. Oh, the invocation, my God. I know it's hard to believe, but I really do know what I'm doing. If everyone who's able can please rise. Towards the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Amen. Everyone can be seated now, please. And now we are going to do the kindling of the lights and the dedication to each of the religions.
To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Hindu tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Buddhist tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Zoroastrian tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the pagan tradition. The Taoist tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light. We kindle this light, symbolically representing the pagan tradition. Maybe we've got a fan going, so. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Jewish tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Christian tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Islamic tradition. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing all those who, whether known or unknown to the world, have held aloft the light of truth amidst the darkness of human ignorance.
If everybody could rise as you're able for the first prayer. Praise be to thee, most supreme God, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-pervading, the only being. Take us in thy parental arms. Raise us from the denseness of the earth. Thy beauty do we worship. To thee do we give willing surrender. Most merciful and compassionate God, the idealized Lord of the whole humanity. Thee only do we worship, and towards thee alone do we aspire. Open our hearts towards thy beauty. Illuminate our souls with divine light. O thou, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, all-powerful creator, sustainer, judge and forgiver of our shortcomings, Lord God of the east and of the west, of the worlds above and below, of the seen and unseen beings, pour upon us thy love and thy light. Give sustenance to our bodies, hearts, and souls. Use us for the purpose that thy wisdom chooses, and guide us on the path of thine own goodness. Draw us closer to thee every moment of our life, until in us be reflected thy grace, thy glory, thy wisdom, thy joy, and thy peace. Amen. Everyone can please be seated. And now we will proceed with the readings.
We begin with the reading on Hinduism. And if you'd like to follow along, there is a flyer in your program to follow the readings so that they stick with you better. The first reading from Hinduism, from the Hindu tradition, is a conversation of Krishna, the god Krishna, to Arjuna, his warrior soldier devotee. Whenever there is decay of righteousness, O Bharata, Arjuna, and there is exaltation of unrighteousness, then I myself come forth, for the protection of the good, for the destruction of evildoers. For the sake of firmly establishing righteousness, I am born from age to age. And this is from the Bhagavad Gita. And there's a second rendering of this, or second translation of this same passage of the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Vivekananda, which reads such: Whenever virtue subsides and wickedness prevails, I manifest myself to establish virtue, to destroy evil, to save the good. I come from age to age, or yuga to yuga. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine wisdom.
Well, we start out with this verse from the Gita, and this verse and the one that follows from Buddhism both deal with the concept of time in the sense that throughout time we are never really left alone. Various seers, prophets, avatars, however you want to name them, however you want to understand them, they come from time to time, bringing the message. I would say bringing the message back again. I don't think that, while maybe they put it in ways that suit their culture, I don't really think it's changed all that much. But we every occasionally need to be reminded. We do a thing in Sufism called dhikr, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I'm just going to say that the word dhikr in Arabic means remembrance. So, it's that remembrance. Now, this particular time, you notice we did two versions of the same verse. And the second one was from Swami Vivekananda, who was one of the first people to bring Hinduism as an established religion to this country. He addressed people at the first Parliament of the World Religions in 1893 in Chicago. On the 100th anniversary of that meeting, they had another Conference of World Religions in Chicago that, at the time, I was, a Chicago boy, I was blessed to attend. But when Vivekananda brought it, he brought it in a way that people in the West could take it, could use it, could understand it. And he founded a movement called Vedanta here. Now, he's not the first person to have discussed Hinduism or the Bhagavad Gita here. That honor goes to a group called the New England Transcendentalists. And the first two folks to really discuss the Gita and to recommend that we all read it and study it were Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. So I just wanted to, give that little tidbit to you, and we'll go on with the next reading.
From Buddhism, we read from Buddha's first sermon at Deer Park. I am not the first Buddha who came upon earth, nor shall I be the last. In due time, another Buddha will arise in the world, a holy one, a supremely enlightened one, endowed with wisdom in conduct, auspicious, knowing the universe, an incomparable leader of men, a master of angels and mortals. We offer to the omniscient God our homage, our reverence, and our gratitude for the light of the divine wisdom.
Here again, we see the idea that teachers come to us from age to age. The Prophet Muhammad, well, actually God in the Quran says we make no distinction between the prophets. And I think that means, all teachers. So when we look at all the teachers, be it Krishna, Buddha, Zoroaster, all of them, they all brought the same message. They couched it in their own cultural terms, but it was the same message, and in that sense, we make no distinction between them. We can gain wisdom from all of them.
From the religion of Zoroastrianism, we read from the Yasna. When I conceived of thee, O Mazda, O God, as the very first and the last, as the most adorable one, as the father of good thought, as the creator of truth and right, as the Lord judge of our actions in life, then I made a place for thee in my very eyes. We offer to the omniscient God our homage, our reverence, and our gratitude for the light of the divine purity.
Zoroastrianism, which is a very old religion and a religion to which the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, owe a great deal. I tend to think of it as the bridge between the Abrahamic faiths and the Dharmic faiths. Right in the middle stands Zoroaster. Now, finding writings from Zoroaster is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because there aren't many of them that we have. It's a curse because there aren't many of them that we have. But what we do have speaks volumes. And in this case, we are going into the sanctuary of time that is in our heart, and we're making a space for it, for the divine within it.
From the tradition of Taoism, we read from The Celebration of Life by Chuang-Tzu. Upon hearing, and this is a story that was told by one of the Taoist masters. Upon hearing of the death of Chuang-Tzu's wife, his good friend Huitzu went over to comfort him and found the sage sitting on the ground, banging on an overturned pot and singing a song at the top of his lungs. Horrified at such behavior, Huitzu reproved him, saying, "This woman has lived with you, borne your children, grown old with you, and now she has died. It is bad enough not to be weeping at this time, but to be out here banging on a pot and singing is too much." Chuang-Tzu replied, "You are mistaken, my friend. At first, I could not help but feel sad and depressed at my beloved wife's death. But then I began to reflect. In the beginning, she had no life, and having no life, she had no spirit, and having no spirit, she had no body. But then she was given life, she was given a spirit, and then she was given a body. Now things have changed again, and she is dead. She has joined the great cycle of the seasons. Now she lies suspended between heaven and earth. Why then should I weep and moan over her? It would be as though I did not understand the process of life. Therefore, I stopped and decided to celebrate." We offer to the omniscient God our homage, our devotion, and our gratitude to the light of the divine way.
Chuang-Tzu was arguably a real person. We don't know whether he was or not. I tend to think he was. And the collection of writings about him is also called the Chuang-Tzu. So don't be confused. But, and probably Chuang-Tzu's most famous story is the one of the butterfly. Those of you who don't know it, ask me after. The sanctuary in time here is the sanctuary of existence, the sanctuary of the wheel of life, as it were. I saw a rather funny joke the other day, God talking to some guy and saying, if I explain to you the meaning of existence, it won't be funny anymore. And what Zhuangzi is showing here, I think, is that in all of our lives, in all of the world's lives, the universe's lives, there are certain touchstones, shall we say. There are, there is, as Zhuangzi says in here, there was a time when my wife wasn't. And then she was. She became a spirit. And then that spirit inhabited a body. And then that spirit left the body. And we don't really know what happens, after we leave the body. But in his case, he says, she, dissolved back into the universe. And now there was no spirit, there was no body. And he thought that was cause for celebration, that circle exists, that we all, everything on the planet goes through that circle, not just people, our brothers, the animals, our brothers, the trees and the plants, we all go through this. And that's what Zhuangzi was celebrating here. Time as it affects us all. I wouldn't know if I couldn't read it. So, just a second. Oh, gone. Philip Carr gone. Yeah.
A reading from the pagan religion. Now, this is a reflection of the former chief druid of the order of bards, oviates, and druids, Philip Carr Gom. Thank you, Rich. What is it that guides the course of this cycle, this circling? He asked me. My mind went blank for a moment. What lies at the center of this wheel? What or who is responsible for its turning? I got it. My soul, my true identity that endures through every life. Exactly, he said, placing a pat of butter in the center of my dish of spaghetti to mark the place of my soul. Now, let us forget the individual, he went on, and look at the world. The seasons are clearly cyclical, one following the other inexorably. So, we can place them on a circle. That is the circle of the year. But the life of each day we can place on a circle too. It is born at dawn, reaches its peak at noon, and passes from dusk into night before being reborn again the next day. He began circling his plate with his finger, more gingerly now, to avoid the food. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine nature.
See, we changed things up a little here, and we brought in Druidry, which is one of the neo-pagan movements. There are many of them. And I want you to know that this thing here was an actual conversation that Philip was had. Philip's a wonderful guy. He's no longer the head of the order of bards, oviates, and druids because he stepped down, and there's a wonderful lady named Eamon who's now the head. I know this because I'm a member of the order of oviates, bards, and druids. But the founder of it was a guy named Ross Nichols. We know him as Newen in druid circles. So if you ever get in them and you want to drop names, there you go. But he was also Philip's instructor. And he was trying to teach them about something that is very central to Wiccan and Druid spirituality, the Wheel of Life. And the Wheel of Life is a yearly wheel. We go through it every year, you know, and it starts with our New Year's, which is Samhain. You guys know it as Halloween. And then it goes on, and it goes on through, you can divide it into 2 series of 4. The first 4 are the equinoxes, and that, so you have, you know, like the summer equinox, the vernal equinox, so forth, and you know, winter and fall. But then in between you have others. These are the ones that we call the moon festivals. And those are ones like Beltane and Lanasa and so forth. But what they do is they kind of follow the agricultural year in many ways. And they look at things from the point of view of, at Samhain, and if you want to look it up, it's actually spelled Samhain, because in the Celtic languages, they do not believe that the sound should in any way be represented by the letters. But it starts, oddly enough, with both the death of the old year and the birth of the new year. We refer to it as the death of the Oak King and the starting of the Holly King. The death of the robin and the starting of the wren. Now, again, in the summer equinox, that's going to trade places, and it's going to be the death of the Holly King and the birth of the Sun King, and the robin's going to come back, you know, and the wren's going to take a vacation in Miami. But when you look through this circle and you see, you know, the year, the seasons all going, and then they're going to go again, and your life is the same way. The spring of your life, your childhood, you know, your babyhood, the summer of your life, you know, your adulthood, your what the Hindus call your householder stage, okay, and the fall of your life, you know, middle age, you're getting a little older in that, the winter of your life where, you know, you have attained older, you are now an elder, you know, I'm kind of on the cusp of that because I'm falling apart, but the fact is you go through this same circle. And then you come full circle, and you know, according to the Celtic beliefs, you die, you pass over, you do what we call crossing over the Rainbow Bridge. And you know, many Druids believe that you go to a land called the Summerlands, where you stay for a while, and then you get to come back here and do it all over again. At least I assume it's here. For all I know, you could end up on Venus. But the fact is, you know, and I'll cut this short because I've already gone on too long. What Nguyen was teaching Philip was about the circle and how it applies both to the universe and to nature, and how it applies to us as individuals. And I am going to start the practice of teaching spiritual truths over spaghetti. I think that's a wonderful practice that should be repeated.
A reading from the Jewish tradition. This is King Solomon to the Jewish people. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that he laboreth? I have seen the task which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. He hath made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart. Ecclesiastes. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine covenant.
I'm sure almost anyone who has read the Bible or listened to the birds has heard this, particular verse. It's definitely one of my favorites, and I kind of think that it goes hand in hand with the Druid lesson that we heard before. To everything there's a time and a purpose under heaven, and it goes through all that. And at the end it says that we're given a task. Now in Judaism they call this tikkun olam, which means to heal the world. That's all of our responsibilities, because whether you believe in a literal Messiah, as many Orthodox Jews do, or you believe that the Messiah talked about is actually an age, as many Reformed Jews do, our job, our task, is to rebuild and heal the world to make it worthy of that Messiah. And it says in the Talmud, you are not responsible to complete this task, nor are you free from pursuing it.
A reading from the Christian tradition. This is Paul to the Colossians. It's Colossians 4. Continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. At the same time, pray also for us, that God may open to us a door for the word, to declare the mystery of Christ, on account of which I am in prison, that I make it clear, which is how I ought to speak. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine self-sacrifice.
In Paul's letter to the Colossians, although I'm not sure how far Colossus is from Croatia, so you could be right. Paul's in prison. He mentions it kind of offhandedly, but Paul was in prison in Rome. He had already been sentenced by the Emperor Nero to death by beheading. Unlike Peter, who was condemned to crucifixion, Paul was a Roman citizen, so they couldn't crucify him. So they were going to behead him. Now, the reason I bring that up is because as he's writing this and saying to the people of Colossus, make good use of your time, he knew that his time in this realm was running out. Winston Churchill said, nothing focuses a man's mind more than the night before his execution. So, that could indeed be the case here too. But what Paul is telling us all is that time, that sanctuary of time, is a precious commodity. And we need to use it wisely, because while Paul knew when his axe was coming, none of us know when ours is. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week. God willing, it won't be for years. May it never come. But the fact is it will come. And you don't know when. So enjoy that sanctuary of time and use it to the best of your wisdom.
A reading from the Islamic tradition, from the Quran. Behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alternation of the night and the day, in the sailing of the ships through the ocean for the profit of mankind, in the rain which God sends from the skies, and the life which he brings therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that he scatters through the earth, in the change of the winds, and the clouds which they trail like their slaves between the sky and the earth. Here, indeed, are the signs for the people that are wise. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine unity.
The Quran here talks about time, I would say, as a sacrament. A sacrament is a physical manifestation of a sign of the divine. That's the definition of a sacrament. At least if we are to believe Thomas Aquinas. But I believe him in this case. And it is. Now, there's something I just wanted to point out here. You notice how, the Quran talks about, ships sailing, to different ports for the betterment of mankind and so forth. We can take that two ways. But the first way is when, I mentioned before, teachers come to different times in different places. And they're talking to different people. So these are examples that will help those people. Moses came to a group of slaves in Egypt. Jesus came to people who were basically handymen, jacks of all trades, and farmers, which is why you get a lot of parables about mustard seeds and things like that. He was speaking to an agrarian people. Muhammad came to merchants. Mecca was a merchant city. It was a trading city. So he was talking to them in language with examples that they would understand. But to go on, because every, when I started studying Arabic a long time ago, I discovered something. The Arabic has 5 words for everything, and every one of those words has 5 meanings. So it's like, lots of luck. As my teacher said, don't worry, it's only the first 10 years that are difficult. But the point that I want to make here is I think another way that the Quran is talking here, let's look at those ports as places of wisdom. And we'll look at the ship of our mind and our soul and our heart. And with each port, we can obtain more wisdom, more betterment. As Muhammad said, go even unto China in search of knowledge. So here, one of the things I think the Quran is talking about, besides just the sacramental sacredness of time, he's also wheedling in there an option for us to use that time wisely, as Paul advised us to do. All right, if we could all rise for the second prayer. Most gracious Lord, Master, Messiah, and Savior of humanity, we greet thee with all humility. Thou art the first cause and the last effect, thine light and the spirit of guidance, the Alpha and Omega. Thy light is in all forms, thy love in all beings, in a loving mother, in a kind father, in an innocent child, in a helpful friend, in an inspiring teacher. Allow us to recognize thee in all thy holy names and forms, as Sita and Ram, as Radha and Krishna, as Shiva and Shakti, as Buddha. Let us know thee as Abraham, as Solomon, as Zarathustra, as white buffalo calf woman, as Moses, as Jesus, and as Mary, as Muhammad, and in many other names and forms known and unknown to the world. We adore thy past. Thy presence deeply enlightens our being, and we seek for thy blessing in the future. O Messenger, Christ, Nabi, the Rasul of God, thou whose heart constantly reaches upward, thou comest on earth with a message, as a dove from above when Dharma decays, and speak the word that is put into thy mouth, as the light fills the crescent moon. Let the star of the divine light shining in thy heart be reflected in the hearts of thy devotees. May the message of God reach far and wide, illuminating and making the whole humanity as one single family in the parenthood of God. Amen. Everyone can be seated again, please.
Man appears to be most independent of the influences, and yet man is most under the influence of time, not only his body and mind, but with all affairs of life. Verily, the one who knows the influence of time knows the secret of life. This is from the Gathas by Hazrat Inayat Khan. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine truth.
We often refer to Hazrat Inayat Khan by the term Murshid. So if you're ever talking to Sufis and you hear them say, well, Murshid said this or Murshid said that, they're talking about Inayat Khan. What Murshid, I think, is trying to show us here is not only is time a sanctuary, it's an inescapable sanctuary. When you think about it, it's the thing that draws everything else to us. Because we know that while time is eternal, our time isn't. Our portion of time is not eternal. We have, we're born, we live, we die. We have that time in which to develop things. In a moment, we're going to do a practice in which we're going to explore movement in a weird way. But don't be afraid, you're not going to have to do yoga. But the reason why I bring that up is because I think what Murshid is saying here to us is this is one thing that is inescapable. You don't really have, in this plane of existence, a lot of move for direction, okay? We don't have time machines, we can't go back. We can only go forward. We can only make the best of opportunities or lose them. So we are all bound by time. It is our sanctuary, yes. It's also in many ways our prison, although if you use it right, it is a gentle and kind prison. So at this point, I'd mentioned doing weird things with movement. You don't have to get up. If everybody would just sit, get in a comfortable position, feet on the floor if you like. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a threefold chant. And what that chant is it's the word Awen. Now, Awen is a Celtic word, and basically it means divine inspiration. Awen is what rules artists, what rules poets. It's really what rules all of us if we open ourselves up to it, okay? So I will lead it, and we'll take a deep breath, and we'll do it 3 times, okay? You can breathe each time, okay? So. Awen. When everybody close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to sink deeper and deeper into yourself. I want you to visualize that you're standing on the edge of a staircase. And there are 5 steps to this staircase. You take a deep breath and you descend down the first step. And as you do, you relax more and more. You go deeper and deeper into yourself. And as you're going deeper into yourself, you're going deeper into the universe. And you're at that first step. Now you take a deep breath and you descend to the second step. And you go even deeper. You relax even more. Let all the tensions go. Let all the tensions leave your body. Become more and more in tune with the universe that is within you. Now we go to the third step. As you descend the third step, you relax even more. You let even more of the tension fall out. You even let it fall out from your face, from your lips, from your eyes, from your nose. You just give it all to the universe, and you relax more and more. And you go deeper and deeper into the limitless universe that is you. And now, we step to the fourth step. We relax even deeper. We are more and more attuned with that universe that is inside us all. That universe of various shapes, dimensions, and places. And now, we step down to the fifth step, and we go deeper and deeper. We relax more and more. The limits that are our body are dissolving. And we are just becoming a part of that universe, although we are retaining our individuality for this. Take a deep breath, relax more and more. And now, you are on a level pathway. You look ahead, and at the end of that pathway, you see a table. At that table are 2 chairs sitting across from each other. On that table is a pot of your favorite drink, be it tea or coffee or mead or what have you. And you go to the table and you sit down. As you sit at the table, you relax more and more. And you look, and from the horizon, someone is coming towards the other chair. That someone is someone from your past. You are about to enter into a new dimension. In the dimension you live in now, you have total freedom in space. You can move forward, backwards, side to side. But you are a prisoner of time. You can only move in one direction in time, and that is forward. You're about to leap into a new dimension. You relax calmly. Calmly, you leap into that new dimension, and in that new dimension, you discover that you have no freedom of movement in space. You are in that chair, and while you're here, that's where you're going to stay. But you have total freedom of time. Now you can move backwards. And as you move backwards, You see this person coming towards you, and they sit at this chair. And this person, or being, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but it is a being from your past. Someone who has made a great influence on you, who has guided you, who has shaped you into who you are now. And now, you pour them a drink, you pour yourself a drink. You take a sip of the drink, both of you. And as you do so, you dissolve into the realm of kindness. Be with that for a moment. Now you take a second drink. And in that drink, you dissolve into the realm of compassion. Be with that for a little bit. Be in compassion. Be in total love for all of existence and wanting for that what you want for yourself. And now you take your third drink. And this drink takes you into the realm of possibilities. Possibilities are limitless here. So now you look at this being across the table, this being who helped form you into who you are now. And you get to ask this being a question. And that question is, what wisdom can you share with me for here and now? In my sanctuary of time as it exists in my present, what can you give me that will help sustain me, help develop me, and help me grow? Now we're going to take a couple minutes and we're just going to have this conversation with this being. Now, you have gotten whatever message, whatever wisdom this being, this friend from your past can impart. You take a final drink together, and in that drink, you enter the realm of reunion. You know that while that person is, in one sense, going away, receding back into your past, they're also here. They're never going to leave you. You watch them go over the horizon. With a final wave, you get up from the table. You walk back on the path towards the stairs. You step up onto the 5th step, and as you do so, your awareness is coming more and more into this dimension, into this realm of existence. You're starting to lose that total freedom of time and going back to only movement forward in time. But you're also starting to gain movement in space. How else could you have stepped on that step? You step on the 4th step. Once again, you're becoming more and more aware of the environment around you that we share with all the people around you. You're stepping on the 3rd step. You're becoming more and more aware. You're becoming more and more aware of being inside your body and the feeling of your body. You can start to feel your hands, your feet, your legs, your arms. Just step onto the second step. And you're starting to feel your heart, your love, your compassion, and you're becoming more and more a part of this realm of existence, of this dimension. Now you step on the first step. On this step, you have now become totally inside your body, totally inside this environment, totally ready to interact with those around you. You can no longer move but in one direction in time, forward. But you have gained a value of just how important that is and how you must use it wisely. And you have gained the ability to move in space in all directions, which allows you the opportunity to use it wisely. Now you step off that first step and on to level land. And as you do so, slowly come completely back to yourself. Take a deep breath. And as you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. That is an exercise that I learned in Druidry when I was studying for a rank in Druidry called the Ovate rank, and that's the rank of healers and diviners. And this practice, should you decide to use it, can also be used for healing. You can go back in time to a person or a situation that hurt you and resolve that hurt. And I can tell you from having done it, it's powerful and it works. So that being said, and I hope that everybody got something out of that practice. And if not, blame Philip Cargam, because he's the one who taught it to me. But no, if everyone could please rise, we will do the third prayer. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly comes from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences that divide us. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect blessing. And now, if everyone would give Joey and Sally Joe and myself the privilege of blessing you. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide within you. May God's presence illuminate your hearts now and forever. Amen. Now, at this point, we're going to say goodbye to the folks out in streaming land. Thank you for coming. Oh, you can all be seated. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. We look forward to you joining us again next week. And we hope for you a week of good tidings and wisdom and peace. Thank you.